For those of you who don't know me, my name is Leslie Gladfelter, and I am chairman again this year of the scholarship campaign. I'm also vice chairman of the board. We had a really successful campaign last year, and I think we're on target, and we hope to do the same thing this year. And our success was in large part last year due to all the Greater Needs donors and all the great volunteer campaigners. A lot of you are here again today, and we look forward to all your help again this year. And even though I think we're going to have another challenging economic year out there, I think we can do the same thing that we did last year, because our Y continues to grow, as everybody knows. And so that just means that we have a greater need for our scholarship campaign and to give out more scholarships. Our advanced campaign was over on January 31st. We did a pretty good job, but we still have a ways to go. Our overall campaign goal this year is $372,000, which is about $14,000 more than it was last year. And so far we've raised about a quarter of that, just a little over $100,000. So we do have a ways to go. Good start, but we still have a ways to go, and we're looking to all of you to help us with that. I think we all need to double our efforts and let our potential donors know that, unlike some other organizations, just about every penny that they give to this scholarship campaign goes out in scholarships. And I think the other thing it's good to let the potential donors know is that if they give now, if they give, at the beginning of this year or anytime during the year, they have until, if they pledge, they have until the end of the year to make their contributions. So that might encourage some people to give a little more money than they might have otherwise given if they know they can give it over a period of time. So. And this morning we have a great program for you. We're going to hear from each of the branch representatives from each of the branches, and they're going to fill you in on their plans for this campaign and their progress so far. And we're also going to hear from our great CEO, Sean Allison, about the same thing. And in addition to that, I understand that we have some scholarship recipients who are going to tell us their stories. And if you were at our breakfast like this last year, you'll know that those stories are very compelling. And, they help us, give us a lot of incentive to go out there and ask people to contribute to our scholarship campaign. So now I'd like to introduce our first branch exec, and that is Sean Simmons, the associate branch exec from Lakewood Ranch.
First, I'd like to start off by introducing our 2011 campaign chair for Lakewood Ranch. That's Sandra Guffey. Hi. Sandra's on our advisory board at Lakewood Ranch, and she has a real passion for the why, what we stand for, what we do. So she makes a perfect advocate for us out in the community. Excuse me. Our branch goal this year is $73,000. As of today, we've raised $26,984, which is a little more than 36% of our goal. Our other big thing that we're striving for this year is to reach 100% participation with employee pledges. We are almost there, so hopefully we're probably about 3 or 4% away. So that'll be a first for us, which will be really great. So we're excited about that. And this morning, our speaker on behalf of his family will be Kevin Robinson. Kevin and his wife Kathy have 3 beautiful children, and their family is very, very active in our Y. They participate in just about everything we offer, which is great. They've graciously agreed to share their story with us today, and to me, they're a perfect example of what the Y stands for, what we do, why we're here, and I just think it shows what a positive impact we can have in the community by doing what we do, raising the campaign funds. So with that, please give a warm welcome to Kevin Robinson.
You know, I didn't really, when I first came up here today, I really thought it was about meeting the donors and the people out in the community and see if we could help drive those people to give more and contribute to the Y. And I didn't realize that that's pretty much who I'm meeting with right now, just in a different suit and label. You know, we've gone, the Y, excuse me. The Y has been one constant we've really had the past 18 months. As a father, I've seen my kids grow, learn, and want to keep striving up to the other kids they see there. My daughter swims. She's learning competition, dedication, perseverance, all the things that, as a father, you really want to teach them, but you're not always there to be able to do that. And it's also reminding me of the things that I did when I was young at the Y, swimming, basketball, football, all that stuff, and be able to see that thing come full circle and really help. You know, they wake up every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and know that they're going swimming or they're playing basketball. My youngest, Grace, loves going to the kids zone. She's 2. She gets to see how other kids play because apparently Parker and Molly teach her a very specific way that's allowed. And she kind of gets to be the boss now. It's really neat. But the people that we've met there, guys like Scott and Sean and all the other volunteers that have allowed me to participate in sports and just kind of see the stuff that other parents I know they want to be able to do, they're able to do. You know, I've gone out and I've talked to my friends. They say, you know, when you have a group of friends, you kind of know what's going on, and they say, well, how are you guys at the Y? And I know it's tough for you, and what's going on? And we just say, we've got a scholarship there, and we don't pay as much as we'd like to be able to, but it gets our kids to do all these great things, and it's constant, and just all the people that's gone on just helps them kind of be kids still. And, you know, if you guys are having trouble out there, getting a lot of no's, well, maybe we can do it later, maybe we'll help later, call me in a month. You know, we told Sean that we're ready to come on scholarship, we can do it. And then later that week, my wife saw you in the branch office and she's like, maybe you should cancel that request because, again, another job changed. Things change all the time, but I just keep asking you to persevere. I've met a lot of great people today. Things I didn't even know how the Y worked. I didn't know we had a CEO. Not worldwide yet, but we're going, right? You know, and just in seeing the backing that's behind this group and just talking to the people just like me, you know, people that may not understand that we're having issues, that we're having trouble, but we always have the Y to help us. And just a place to take our kids that we know they love, it's safe, and it's just a great place to community, you know, that we can always point to and say, oh man, it's going pretty bad today, but let's go to the pool and go swim and do some cannonballs or whatever, you know. So just thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for sharing that. Now I'd like to introduce Jackie Reardon, Membership Director of the Parish Branch.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Sean. I am very excited about the Parish Branch YMCA. We're in our second year, going strong. Our first campaign last year was great. We're looking forward to another successful year. Our campaign chair this year is Mandy Humphreyville. Please stand. Mandy is also on our branch advisory board. And for our speaker today, I'd like to introduce Michael Kreminski. He is a family member, has 2 children, has coached for us, and has been a part of our Y before our Y existed in its building that it is now. So if you would, please welcome Michael Kreminski.
Little background, as growing up in Connecticut, I was always a part of the YMCA up there.
Actually, while I was just finishing school and worked as a carpenter framing houses, every summer I would leave to go be a part of their summer program and their summer camp. It was that rewarding and really exhilarating, even though my paycheck went in about 25% of what it usually was. It just meant that much to help the kids and go on the trips and do things like that. But we had moved down here about 2.5 years ago from Georgia, and for an opportunity to run the sales and marketing for a company here locally. And after commuting back and forth 7 hours each way on the weekends and just got the wife and 2 kids moved down, unfortunately, I was the casualty of right sizing, or whatever they call it. So things have really been a tough, personally and financially, since that moment. And I too, as the last speaker had mentioned, the why was the one thing that we knew we could count on. We were really looking to be a part of the Y before all that even came up. And as Jackie mentioned, I coached on the soccer, the kids, and my son played soccer. And my daughter, she usually tries to beat up too many people to be involved with at 5, to be involved with any of those activities. So, but my son's active in the soccer, and I enjoyed coaching, looking to coach again. But when everything went sideways career-wise, and things really were shaky at the house, and of course everybody knows what kind of strained financial and what couples argue about the most. When there were some heated things going on at the house, it was nice to know we always had the Y. The kids would love to go up there, and the new building is just fantastic. If anybody here hasn't seen it, it's certainly worth, the short drive out to Parrish to see, because they did a great job out there. But none of that would have been impossible without having the scholarship program. And there are days that when the kids are driving you nuts and you really don't even know how you're going to make it to the next day, knowing that they're able to go down there and sort of have all those things and problems transparent to them has just been really a godsend to me and my family. So I certainly appreciate everything it's done, and I'll continue to volunteer and do what I can to help out and give back in my way. But my family and I would like to certainly personally thank each and everybody involved with the scholarship program, and just I hope that it continues to grow and prosper, because it's been really a lifesaver.
Good morning. Thanks for everybody for coming. I'm the branch director at the Bradenton branch, and we had a very successful campaign last year. We were able to exceed our goal. This year, challenging the staff and my board, and our goal is to raise $60,000. It's about a fourth of what we actually are able to give out to our members and that side of Bradenton. So we've been hit real hard with a lot of scholarships. So definitely challenging the board and our staff, and they're doing an excellent job. So far, we have raised over $40,000, and we are at 68% of our goal, and we've got more coming in. So, and our campaign chair is Rob Moran. If you could stand. And today we have a young lady that's here who's a family member. She's very active in the Y. Her daughter plays a lot of sports, is on the swim team, and she assists with the swim team. And having a name that gets butchered all the time, I'm just going to refer to her as Julie, because I'm going to tear her name apart. So Julie, if you could come on up.
Okay, so my last name's Olszewski. It looks worse than it sounds, first of all. That's okay, we go by O, last name Olszewski. Everyone's Julie O, Maddie O, we're O. First of all, I want to say that the Y has been the mustard seed in my life. I moved to Bradenton when I was probably about 3 years old, and the Y was the first place I got to twirl a baton, I got to take tumbling, I got to take dance, and that's when it was the tin can building. And that was always a constant in my life. We used to drive past it every day, and I used to be so excited about the little building. Because of the tumbling, I got very interested in gymnastics and did a lot of gymnastics and competitive gymnastics throughout up through high school. When I went away to college, the first place I moved to was Atlanta, and I looked for the Y. The Y was a place I knew of that hired college students, number one. 2, they needed lifeguards, which I'd been a lifeguard. 3, I knew that I was going to be able to get certified to teach Y swim lessons, which I absolutely adored. And the Y that I worked for actually had a gymnastics program, and that meant I got to coach. So the Y has been a really big part of my life and everything I've ever done. And if anybody ever asks me, the first thing I say is, you've got to join the Y. I'm a realtor, part-time realtor, and I work as an admin for a real estate company. And anytime I get new families come in town, the first place I send them to is the Y. And about 5 years ago, or gosh, maybe it's even longer, 6 years ago, we became members of the Y. And being a single parent, Y fees are not always attainable, even as a single parent. And I was able to get a small scholarship then, which helped me tremendously to get through the first year. And I went off scholarship and was off scholarship until this year. It's really hard financially as a single parent to provide everything. You know, you got to be the mom, you got to be the dad, you got to be the ruler of your kingdom, and trying to get a preteen who is very strong-willed to submit to the ruler of her kingdom, me, is often hard. But it's such a great honor and privilege for her to go to the Y and have so many great people who mentor her. We have some amazing soccer coaches that we look forward to seeing every season. They know her, they tease her, she teases them. The relationship that she has gotten from being a part of the Y, and even just men in general, because she's not exposed to it as me as a single parent. And it just really has benefited us in so many ways. And I can't even express to you how thankful I am to have a scholarship. I myself use the Y just as much as she does. I was telling Jennifer this morning that we're getting ready to gear back up to 5 days a week at the Y, and Jen's like, well, you're almost there as much as I am. But we do, because she does swim competitively with the Y. We do try to give back as much as we can. I typically take over as team mom. Since Deb has had her surgery this past recently, my daughter and another one of the team members are help coaching the younger kids. And it makes me happy to know that even at 11, my daughter is learning the art of giving back and giving back to the Y. So I'm sorry for getting so emotional, but you guys are just as close to family on a daily basis for us as the family we have. So thank you.
Thank you, Julie. That was wonderful. And actually, last year we had another one of our single moms that's a member of the Y came and gave a real heartwarming, tear-jerking story. Get your napkins ready, whatever. We've brought her back to give an update on her family. So, Patricia, if you'd like to come up at this time.
Thank you. I'll give a short background. This should be called the Boohoo Breakfast, and you should have a big box of tissues. But I was a single mother of 2. My sister went through something, and so I ended up with her 5 kids. So all of a sudden, I was a single mom of 7, and I'm going and they were teenage boys. And I'm going, I gotta find somewhere for y'all to go. Y'all gotta stop tearing up my house. And so I went to all the different places, and I'm like, first thing, do you have a scholarship? Do you have, no, we don't. So I'm like, I know there's a YMCA somewhere around here. I have to find it. And I found it, and I went in, and they're like, yeah, we have a scholarship here, fill out the paperwork. So I filled out the paperwork, and they called me like 3 days later, and they're like, okay, you have the scholarship. And, you know, it's only, they're like, you know, how much can you pay? And then, and, you know, they told me, I'm like, I can go through all this. I'm a member now, so I can go through all this. So we were there. We just dived head in first. We had the dance class, tumbling, tap. The boys were in the advanced dance class. They were in basketball, football, swimming. They all learned how to swim. They did everything. We were there 6 days a week. 6 days a week. And we closed down, like now we are closing down the YMCA. And it's like we brought their nightgowns, and they were taking showers there, and we were leaving in our nightgowns. And they were in everything. They were there for the summer. And we did the family fitness over the summer. They were there all day, and then when I came, then we were there with family fitness, and we were there with practices, and we were there every day. And then last summer, just things medically for me went down. I was struck with rheumatoid arthritis all throughout my body, and my hands were swollen, and it was hard for me to work and to do anything. And so they went through the summer program, but like the last 2 weeks I couldn't pay. So I just took them out, and they just stayed home. And I had a free coupon for like the frappes or something at McDonald's. And it was just a bad day. So I said, I got this free coupon, so I'm going to go get something to eat. So I went and got the frappe, and something told me, because like, if you don't believe in God, come to me. I got plenty of testimonies to tell you. So I sat there at the McDonald's, and I drank my frappe, and when I was leaving, I'm in the lights, and right next to me comes Adam and Sarah. And they're, hey, and I'm like, what? And they're like, we had to hunt you down. They're like, no, come back. It's all been taken care of. Come back. The slates have been wiped clean. And they say, the slate's been wiped clean. You can come back. You got a full scholarship. Come back. And I'm like, what? And then I had to pull over and just cry. Because I'm like, you know, God, that's just God. Every time God tells you the slate has been wiped clean, you have done nothing that has been too much for him to handle. And so I think 2 days later, we were there. And they were signed up for everything. And to see, like, if they would, GT Bray has a 17-foot pool, and they have to do a swim test. And my little 7-year-old, and they were like, okay, we're going to go in this pool. I'm like, no, you're not going in this pool. This pool's 17 feet deep. And they're like, no, we're going in the pool. And they're going, but they have to pass the swim test. I'm like, there's no way they're going to pass. And she just swam right across from that, and they did that from going to the Y. They learned how to swim. My boys, they're now 18, 17, and 15 years old. The 15-year-old, he said, I don't want to play football at school. I want to play football at the Y. I don't want to play. I want to go to the Y. They're in everything. They started basketball, and they were like, well, why are we not signed up? I'm like, I didn't know you wanted to be signed up for the basketball. So we end up on the waiting list, and they called us, and they're like, okay, come on, let's go. We're going to do this for Adam. We're going to do this for Adam. And Adam is just there. All the gentlemen, all the men that's there in the Y are there. The second we stepped in the door, they were just embraced, hugs just from the front door to the back. My sister came with me to the Y, and she goes, where are the kids? I go, I don't know, because they hit the door. They hit the door and they go. because they know they have friends, and I know they're safe. And that's my token. That's my little offering token when I get my boys. It's teen night, like teen night coming up. I don't see your room clean. I don't see your home. Like, no, my room's clean. I got my stuff done. Here's all my homework because I need to go to teen night. They got to go to teen night at the YMCA. Everything is centered around the YMCA. And they go, we just got to go to the YMCA. The last weekend, we were at the basketball game, and they asked my oldest, they were like, CJ, why are you not playing? He goes, I'm too old. And he was so sad because he's too old to play on the team. But we're going to find someone to pair him up with to learn how to be a coach, to learn how to be a man. They've learned a lot from seeing Adam interact with them and the other college students that are there working and volunteering at the Y. They have learned a lot how to carry themselves, because anytime I have a problem, they're like, I'll deal with it. I'll take care of these boys. I'll take care of them. Because they are just these huge boys. And they eat everything. And they go to, and but they love the Y, and I love the Y, and I can't just express that if the money wasn't there, if the scholarship wasn't there, I don't know where I would have been. I would have been so lost, and I jumped at the chance. They gave me an award, and I couldn't even speak. And Adam could tell you for like 3 days, I'm calling his voicemail going, Adam, I am so sorry I couldn't talk. Just call me again. I'll go wherever you need me to go. I will talk for you because I have to talk. Because that's all I can do is give my time. And Miss Deb had her surgery, and they're like, well, we don't have anyone to run the food. I was like, I'll do it. What else do you need? I'll do it. Because I'll do it. Whatever the Y needs, I'll do it, because all I can do is give back. I have no money, I have nothing, but I have time, and I have myself. So I can just constantly give back. And we would be lost without the Y. We would be absolutely lost without the Y. My kids love it. I love it. I can't say it anymore, but I love it, and I'll always be there and talk for the Y. And I'll speak them up forever, because that is awesome.
Thank you, Patricia. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dan Yonko, who's the Senior Executive Director for the South Manatee branch.
Thank you, Adam. Patricia, you better book next year about this time, because I have a feeling you're going to get asked back. And thank you to all the scholarship recipients for sharing your story. It's because of you that we do what we do. I also want to thank the board and Sean. Briefly, I just want to talk a little bit about, Adam introduced it as a South Manatee. A lot of you knew it last year as the South Branch, and we've had I heard terms like right-sizing, restructuring. I don't care what word they use, people are out of jobs. And we kind of got right-sized by the county right out of that building. And it's turned out to be the biggest blessing, because what it's done is it's put us back where we need to be, and that's in the community. We've moved now, we've located our sports program to Harley Middle School, where we tentatively secured a summer camp location in a church, which is where the Y should be as a Christian organization. And very encouraged by that, because when we met with the church staff, they said, well, we want to make sure there's enough spots for our congregation, because they're going to want to be part of this Y camp. And I said, we'll make sure there's enough spots. Met with the CSAB yesterday, and one of the things they talked about scholarship. And a lot of what people think about scholarship, they think of, college scholarships. And a lot of the programs and not-for-profits in the area have scholarships. The difference is they put limits on what they give out to the community. We don't do that. Adam talked a lot about how, the West Bradenton's been very hit hard by the economy, and it's happened everywhere. Lakewood Ranch, Parrish, South Manatee. under Sean's leadership, he doesn't set those limits on us. It just shows that we have a greater need to serve. And that was something that sitting in front of the CSAB and sitting, shoulder to shoulder with some of the other CEOs, I was the only non-CEO there, but sitting shoulder to shoulder with them, it was a great source of pride and well-being that I chose to be where I chose to be because we didn't have those limits like they had. They were talking about wait lists, that they don't have the capacity to serve because of their finances. The Y finds a way, and it's because of all of you as volunteers, as members who tell the story. Julie sending people to the Y because of what it's about. Because we do what we do, this community is a better place. And, it's nice to see, Dave still here, part of the Y, out there. He may say he's retired, but he's got such passion for the Y. And I just want to personally thank all of you for supporting the Y. Encourage you, again, when you get those no's or maybes, keep pushing. The no is just the beginning of a different conversation. So when you get that no, don't let that just hang there. There's a way to get them connected to the Y, either through services or goods. Get them to volunteer. Get them to events where they're going to hear people like Patricia and Kevin speak, because it's really hard to say no to that kind of thing. I'm going to bring up Jerry Parrish here in a moment, who's our Youth at Risk coordinator. Jerry's going to talk to you a lot about what he does. And part of what he does, and again, what's really interesting is when people meet Jerry, he had to take some of the county staff because, of course, they give us money and they want to make sure that those dollars are well spent. 2 people that met with Jerry over the last 2 weeks. One of them was our contract manager. She spent about 2 hours with Jerry. She emailed me as soon as she got to her office and said, I don't know how he does what he does. I'm glad I don't have to do what he does. She spent 2 hours with him. She was ready to go home. She was exhausted. That was probably the beginning of one of Jerry's 10 to 12-hour days. The other one was an auditor. And no offense to accountants, but they don't always understand what we do. They just see the numbers. Had a conversation with Jerry and just said, I'm glad there's people like Jerry to do that because they couldn't do it. What Jerry's trying to do is break and stop having, multi-generational gang problems in this county. What we're trying to do with the Y is have multi-generational Y programs. And we're seeing that now. Julie to Maddie, we see it just with ourselves. Our girls are starting to participate, and our parents participated. So we want to make this Manatee Y multi-generational positive thing for the community. So I thank you. I'll turn it over to Jerry. I know we have a lot to do today. But again, if there's anything that the Y staff can do to support you in your efforts to raise money for this worthwhile program, it's simply a matter of a phone call to Jackie or Sean or myself or Adam or any of the staff. We're here to help you and support you. And again, thank you for all that you do.
Good morning. I really appreciate it. I do the outreach for the YMCA. I'm the Youth at Risk Director, and I just deal with a lot of different situations. I deal with moms, dads, children that are in situations they're not supposed to be in. And the only reason I get to do that is because of the board and because of the CEO and because of the executive directors. What happens, and it's real simple Bible, what happens when you have good people doing good things, it gives a person like me an opportunity to help those less fortunate. And about 4.5 years ago, when we started this program, I met a boy named Joe Evans, and we called him Tall Joe because Joe was really tall. And he was a kid, but Joe was hilarious, man. But he was just one of those kids. We just started playing flag football in Pride Park, and that's how we started our program. And I'd pick him up, take him to eat, and just built a really, really good relationship with him. And we had Bible studies, in the park. Joe was hilarious, man. This kid was constant joking. Built a great relationship. Actually got him through high school. Worked really, really hard to get him through high school because sometimes he didn't want to go to school. So we had to go pick him up to school, take him to school, and if he got in trouble, his mom would call, and say, hey, Jerry, he's not doing what he's supposed to do at school, so we'll go to Bayshore High School and say, hey, Joe, what are you doing, man? get right, you know. And he graduated high school, and I'm gonna let his mama tell the rest of his story. But what we do at the YMCA is we take care of people, and the YMCA is one of the greatest organizations on the planet. And I went to the Y as a little kid, and I'm the kid I'm reaching now. So I laugh now. I'm like, I'm still a kid if y'all know me, but the reality of it is we're making a huge difference, and the YMCA doesn't get enough credit in this community for what it does. And those guys, those executive directors, and those Sean Adams, and those Jennifers, and those guys that do what they do, and the Dan Yonkos, and the Sarah Yonkos, and the Lisa Strutts, and those guys, and yes, you, Jackie, over there hiding, they're the reason I get to do what I'm doing. So I'm really, really thankful for them, and great people. Celeste Evans is Joe's mama, and I'm just going to let Celeste share her son's story. And this is a powerful story, so just listen with your hearts. Celeste?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Celeste Evans, and I'm a single mom. I have 4 children, and I have two of my kids that, you know, nobody's perfect, right? And 2 of my kids, I've had problems with them just like off and on and just constantly through my life, trying to get them to stay in school, graduate, living in a rough neighborhood, trying to keep my kids on the right track to go to school, graduate. It's more to life than just hanging in the streets, dealing drugs, doing drugs, using drugs, because I'm the type of person, I mean, I don't let my friends and my peers control my life. And I teach that, I install that into my children. You can be all that you can be. You don't need, if these friends are influencing you to do drugs, they're not your friends. A real friend to come and pick you up and say, hey, let's go do something positive with ourselves. Let's go get a job. Let's go, you know, fill out applications, get a lawnmower. Let's borrow a lawnmower and cut yards and save up us a couple dollars or something for college or something. And I've always been that type of parent with my children. Even though we've lived in a rough neighborhood, you don't have to be a rough person because of the neighborhood. You take something out of the neighborhood, make it positive, and move on with it. And then you can help save other children. In my story, I'm here because the Y, you may not know it or not, but the Y has been a great help to me. The first 2, I lost them out into the world, honestly. But then I had 2 more, which is my boys. My first 2 were my girls. My second 2 were my boys. I took my boys and my son, this is my son, Joseph Evans. He graduated. He made it through the Y, with the help of the Y. He graduated. I couldn't have done it by myself, honestly. It's tough raising young men when they got 2 peers over top of them. Like I said, I got 2 girls over top of him that were getting into trouble, doing things, not listening. So I used to take my son and I pull him off and I say, son, look at your sister. She's going to prison. She's not listening. Look at your other sister. She's ripping and running the streets, and they have no reason to do this. They just choose to do it. So do you want to be this way? You want to go this route? Or do you want to take a better route out of here and get yourself out of here and get a better life? And maybe you can help someone, you know, come back into the community and help clean up the community or do whatever you got to do pertaining to the community. So I strive to my son constantly. Do not be like your sisters. You can love them. You know, you can't judge nobody. Nobody can judge but God. But I don't want you to follow that path. So I stayed constantly, day and night. I prayed and I asked God, and I said, God, I've already lost 2 to the world. What am I going to do with my sons? I cannot go through this anymore with my boys, because, you know, boys are worse than girls. They get guns, the drugs, the gangs. I never accepted it with my children. So I kept saying, God, what am I going to do? Lord have mercy, I'm a single parent. I'm tired of suffering. I'm going through a lot. These kids don't understand. What am I going to do with my son? There's nowhere for me to take him. There's nothing for me to do with him, no more than me talking and installing what's right, but there's no places. God said, hold your peace and let me fight your battle. He sent me Pastor Jerry. He came from out of nowhere. I can't even start to tell you where the man came from, how I found him. I don't remember anything. He just dropped out of the sky. Hey, I'm here to help you with your son. Where's Joe? What's up with Joe? So I'm like, oh my God, here's a mentor for my son. So we became close, and anything that Pastor Jerry had going in his life, I fully supported it with these kids because these kids need mentors. They need help. They need somebody out in the streets knocking on the door, aggravating the parents, saying, hey, open the door. It's Pastor Jerry. I need to talk to you and your kids because your kids shouldn't be doing this and your kids shouldn't be doing it. Some people slam the doors in his face. Some people are rude. They are mean. But guess what? They're missing a blessing. Because Pastor Jerry and this why is a blessing to these kids. Because I never would have dreamed in a million years that I'd be standing here holding this picture saying my son made it. He made it because of the why. When I say the why, I mean all of you, not just Pastor Jerry, because Pastor Jerry stands for the why also. And about, 2010, September 10th, I was like, well, it was in June, back in June. I was like, oh, Pastor Jerry, my son needed 1 credit. And he started getting in trouble just like he found a friend. The friend that got in the car, they want to drive. I was like, oh, God, what am I going to do? He has 1 credit left to graduate. I said, Pastor Jerry, Pastor Jerry, Pastor Jerry, Pastor Jerry, constantly. I said, well, you're just going to have to get mad at me. Pastor Jerry, I need help. I can't do this by myself. Well, we'll go to the meeting. We'll talk to Joe. I had a big old meeting. See all you people. It was just as many people as is here now, sitting at a big round table. Joseph, everybody's fully supporting my son. You have 1 credit left. Pastor Jerry, please help me. I'm crying. I don't know what to do because he's went to jail for driving with the friend. He's never been to jail before. Okay, now you're learning your lesson. Because there's a consequence behind everything that you do and the decisions you make in life. And he didn't believe it until he went to jail. Pastor Jerry, here I go again, which I can honestly say, when I say Pastor Jerry, I mean the why. Because without the why, my son would have never made it. I'm going to go back to that again. So he got himself together. He graduated. Pastor Jerry, my son's going to make it. I'm calling him. He graduated on such and such day. He's calling Pastor Jerry. He made it. He graduated. Graduated in 2010. What is it? June, July, August, September. 3 months later, I had him registered for college. We were just waiting on a couple papers to come back so he can go off to college and do what he got to do. He made a baby in the process of it, which was fine. But you're going to go make something out of yourself so you can come back and take care of your daughter. And if you want to marry the mom or whatever you choose to do, that's fine. Get your family out of here because there's nothing here but trouble and drama. You understand me? With these kids, it's more you got to teach the kids. There are more to life than walking around with your pants. Every time I caught his britches up under his pants, I ease up behind him and pinch him real hard. He's like, oh, Mama, why did you do that? Don't come in my house like that. That is a statement. You don't walk in not this household. You can walk in the streets or wherever you want to go. That's fine with me, but you don't do it in my house. You're not going to do it, and you're going to respect my house. So I'm going to sum it on up, and I'm going to go back to September the 4th. I was home sitting on the side of the bed, like wondering, like, Lord have mercy, what am I gonna do? I don't want my son with no free time. You know, because some kids, when they graduate from high school, they have too much free time in between, and then they steer off. So I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? Maybe I could get Joe a job. I'm gonna talk to Pastor Jerry and see what I can do. Maybe he can go to the Y, and, volunteer at the Y and start helping other kids and teach them, some of the things he had to go through to graduate. Okay, that's fine. September the 4th of 2010, I'm home sitting on the side of my bed thinking of my son's future and what we're going to do. I get a phone call. You need to get to Oniko. I don't live in Oniko, but this is the call. You need to come to Oniko now. Joe has been shot 6 times. And I'm like, my son, are you serious? He was an humble child. He never disrespected me, did his chores. He went to school. I mean, kids aren't perfect. They'll steer off a little bit, but I got him right back. When he leaned this way, I lean him right back up. Stand straight up, hold your head up, and keep it going. So I called my mom, because she lives in Oniko. And I was like, Mom, please go on First Street. I lived on this street for 7 years. And I got out of the area because I didn't want to keep raising my children in this area because it's horrible. So I said, Mom, please get up and go on First Street and see about my son. Go see about Joe. Go see about Joe. She was like, what's wrong with Joe? I said, somebody just called me and said he got shot 6 times. She said, girl, I don't want to hear that. And my grandson ain't got shot no 6 times. What do you mean? I said, Mama, please, whatever you do, just get up. Get up, go see about my son. She was like, my grandson? Joseph, you sure? I said, yes, Mama, but I ended up beating her to the scene. And to make a long story short, it was gang related. It was one arrival gang against another arrival gang, and they were going through it and having problems, and it killed my son in the process of it. He was murdered. He was shot over 15 times. He never had a chance to make it to go to college. He never had a chance to make it to do anything, to even raise his daughter was also in the room with him. And I am here today with my story to help change the future for our children, because you don't have to be, I'm going to teach the kids that you don't have to be a thug, you don't have to be a robber, you don't have to be a killer, you don't have to be a drug dealer, you don't have to be out in the streets to get killed. Anybody can die, but you need to get your life right. When you get your life right, that also in God. I believe in God. I'm a highly strong believer in God. And when you get your life right, you get your life right with God first. And then God will help you through everything that you go through. You understand me? And it's rough, but I'm taking my story, and I want y'all to know this. I'm taking this story of my son, my innocent child, all over the world. And what does the Y have to do with it? The Y played a great part in my life. I'm taking the Y with me, whether the Y knows it or not. You're going with me. Wherever I have to go to get my story out on the streets, to get someone to help me solve my son's murder and get other people, children in, got a little excited, excuse me. But to get other people and their children into the Y and get things positive going, to let them know there's people out there that do care. It's people out there that do understand. It's people out there like with her situation. I'm a single mother. It's hard. Pastor Jerry never asked me for a single dollar for my son. He poured his heart out. He cared. I've never seen a man come out in the streets and care so much about children. I care enough to stand here today to let y'all know that I'm taking the Y from one nation to another one with me. And my son is not going to die in vain, and I will be letting them know that the Y, this is what the Y did for me. He made it. And now the Y, guess what? The Y is still supporting me. The Y, y'all might not have been there, but the Y was in church with me. The Y preached. He was supposed to have been mentoring and speaking, but he preached. He ended up preaching at my son's funeral. He's still fully supporting me, and I told him the other day, I said, you know what, Pastor Jerry? I have a 3-year-old grandson that I'm raising. I said, well, guess what? We got one more. And we're going to take him. He's going to participate in the Y, and then we'll go from there, because we got one more child to go, Pastor Jerry. And anything else out from around there, like I said, anybody have any questions, anybody wants to know anything, I'm going to tell them the Y. Get your children around people that believe in them. You got to believe in those kids, because if you don't believe in them and install it in those children, they're not going to believe in themselves. You can't stomp on them and treat them any kind of way and talk to them any kind of way and expect for them to go to school and graduate. You have to be like me. I'm a participating parent. I went to every school meeting. I never missed a date of nothing. And these kids, it is so rough. These kids killed my children. The guys that killed my son was 16, 17, 18, 19. And they never knew him. Because if they knew him, they wouldn't have never shot him. But what happened was, when I got my call from the quote-unquote gang members, it was, we're sorry, we made a mistake. Okay, well, you made a mistake with the wrong lady, because I'm not going to stop until I help Pastor Jerry, the Y, and the government, and whoever else I have to help clean up the streets, because I'm tired of it. I can't take it anymore. They're still out there. My son's killers, they're still out there. They're running the streets. They're gang banging. And these kids, if they had parents, the Y, those kids wouldn't be the way they are. And y'all have a blessed day. And thank y'all for listening to my story.
And y'all just thought it was a gym and swim club. This is what the Y does, and I think the greatest thing on the planet is we're getting to make a difference. And even though Joe is gone, everything we do and everything that we get to accomplish is to make sure there's no more Joes, you know. Sean, Allison, thank you guys.
Well, I have the greatest job in the world. I work with the greatest people for the greatest cause. There's no doubt about that. And if you all don't believe that after being here with us this morning, then we can restart it all. You can all have breakfast and come back and we'll replay it. But I thank you for being here. We need a YMCA in Pride Park so Celeste's 3-year-old can grow up there. We need a YMCA in Palmetto, and we're working hard to accomplish that. We need to expand the Lakewood Ranch Y and reach more people. And together we're going to do that. But before we do all those great things, we're going to finish the scholarship campaign this year. It's going to be our most successful ever. And I just appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. Thank you, Leslie, second year of chairing this. The rest of the board that's here, thank you so much for all that you do. And have a great day. Thank you.